Okay, I had to dig out the old analog waveform monitor for this one. Sadly, my Tektronix one's died, so I'm using this Philips PM56641. It's plugged into the green input because the composite video input isn't even working on this one, but never mind. So what we're looking at is the Genlock reference output from the Blackmagic 3x3G SDI 2110 converter. This is currently set to 625i, so a PAL reference signal, perfectly fine to use that in a system. This system has been on for about 45 minutes now. It's locked to a PTP Grandmaster, the same Tektronix SPG 8000A that is generating my external reference. If I turn to my external reference now, we'll see that the Genlock output of the Blackmagic device sadly is not synchronous. It is not locked at all. However, interestingly, if we watch this for a little while, periodically you'll see it stop, which suggests, there we go, suggests it does lock on briefly, and then shortly after, there it goes wandering again. If we want to, let's go to field view, let's find where the start of frame is. Actually, let's do that on single pass. Where is it? So we're still in external ref. There is the top of raster. So line 1 up in there. It's flickering a bit because obviously there's a slight difference between the interlace raster between field 1 and field 2, and this is overlaying both fields at the same time. You can see it's stopped, nice and synchronous, and then it starts wandering off again to the right. I'm going to leave this recording a little bit. I'm not going to touch the horizontal position knob again because I want to see how it behaves over time. So I'm just going to leave it recording now for a while, and we'll see if it wavers around that same central area or if it just wanders off. Currently every time it stops, it keeps then wandering further to the right. This is consistent with what I've seen on the fabrics, but sadly the fabrics just gives you a kind of metric of PTP relative to reference. So this is, I thought, warranted getting the analog waveform monitor out so you can actually see it for real rather than comparing it to PTP. Incidentally, on the network, this is a MikroTik network switch. It's a hardware-based switch, so it does give me quite good PTP performance. However, there is no boundary clock. There is no transparent clock functionality. It is just a straight layer 2 switch. The fabrics shows me that it can get to an accuracy after about this time of operation anyway, down to about 30 to 50 nanoseconds plus or minus. So relatively accurate, certainly accurate enough to give you a stable Genlock output. And you can see the Blackmagic should be doing the same. The new UI that they've put in for Blackmagic does now have a status showing me that the PTP is locked. That's all it shows me. It doesn't give me any metrics on how well it seems it's locked, but currently it is saying it is locked. Whether or not its 2110 outputs are behaving themselves, it's hard to say. Certainly on the fabrics, the RTP timestamps are way out, and therefore the fabrics can't give me any kind of assessment of those because the offset for the RTP timestamps are just too off. Who knows? We'll see if that improves with a future release. But yeah, interestingly, so we've left it for a while and it's only scrolling to the right. I have to kind of get my head around how that works. I think that means it's going slightly slower than reference. That could be 50-50 guess, but I think it means it's slightly slower. Either way, it's not wavering. It's not speeding up and then slowing down, which is what you might think of something that was hunting to try to kind of pull in. I've only ever seen it scrolling to the right relative to external reference. So, oh, there we go. It just flickered and jumped. I'm curious to know if that has had a significant timing jump now. I'm just going to turn the mag off and try and position it so we can at least see a glitch. Let's just see. So, vertical scan. 2 vertical pulses. So we should be looking at field 1, field 2. You can see the slightly brightening in the middle there, where the vertical sync pulses are. Field sync. Again, I'll leave it for a little while. It's just level with those that little markers on the center of the graticule. Just curious to see if it stays stable now. Obviously, we're not zoomed in anymore, so the movement is much smaller, so it will take a lot longer to assess. But visually, I do think that's still drifting to the right, but I do want to just see if we capture a jump in the timing, because that's certainly what when I've looked at this on the Fabrics QXL, it kind of implies that periodically the timing will jump and be offset by a couple of hundred lines relative to reference, and then I come back later and it might be significantly different, but it does look like it's just slowly drifting. You can kind of see more obviously the bright dot is slowly moving to the right there of that field sync pulse.